Well, I wanted to do a little bit more with this knife to show you. It sort of rides, you know, a little bit higher than hip bone. So if that's something that bothers you, you know, you can, I'm sure, create something. You can get this knife lower. So I field sharpened this knife, and if you watch, I have a video about field sharpening this knife. And I just use these Edge Pros, and they're great for taking out here, and a little bit of spit. And, you know, big knife like this, all my axes that I have and hatchets, they shave arm hair, they feather wood, and they hold up to use. And I can't ask for anything sharper, so this is an excellent method. And it's easy, and it's quick, and you maintain a lot of that that convexity to it. This should be good enough. It's a good enough working edge. Nice piece of maple right here. So we're going to see, in terms of doing some feathers here, we're going to see how she works out. But this knife will suit you well if you want to get to know it a little bit. You know, as I was saying, it's one of those knives where it's not going to fit your hand like a glove. It may create certain hot spots, but you'll get used to it, just as you've gotten used to other tool handles. You know what I mean? Certain other designs may lend themselves to more of a, you know, healthier grip and different things, but you'll figure it out. When dealing with a lot of these types of knives and tools, you have to sort of recognize where some of this stuff came from. Just showing you that you can easily make passable feather sticks with this tool. I could continue this for longer, but I mean, they're you know, good enough. They're tight. Okay, they're definitely tight enough to you know, be able to hold a spark in there. This isn't really the type of knife maybe where you're going to find enough dexterity to, you know, get these big long, you know, ribbons. I'm sure if you work on something like that, maybe you'd be able to. But this knife to me is, you know, basically like I don't bring a hatchet. A knife like this will see you through a lot of your woodcraft for an outing. So it fits the bill in that category. In an emergency situation, I know a lot of people like to talk about survival and those things. In an emergency situation, are you going to be able to, you know, do out small game and whittle trap triggers? Well, I guess if you don't or you can't in this situation, then you die. So I know myself, you're going to figure it out. You'll do it. You'll do it if you're in this fantasy where that's got to be how you survive, is to trap animals. But we all sort of like to live in that world from time to time, don't we? So this right here, very nice, I would say. And a day like today out here, no problem at all, you know, getting a fire going with something like that. I'll just set this aside here. And you can easily split a night's worth of firewood with a tool like this, and a baton, especially one better than the one I've got. Sometimes some of the best stuff that I find in my neck of the woods is maple. It's extremely prolific, and many times you don't need to process down kindling if you look for the right, you know, branch to get. Many times things like this will split right down in your hands for smaller, you know, like I said, smaller size kindling. So I mean, let's use the knife and split down some more. Now, here's a method that I've enjoyed, and sometimes this guard can get in the way of this, but angle the knife up. Just remember, the longer this piece is, usually the safer in terms of splitting, because you're going to have to be out here splitting off something. Your fingers are out of the way on the hand that's holding the stick, and you're not so close to where, I don't know, something could happen. So if you're splitting wood like this, be very careful. But this right here, I would say, would be a good way to split. And I've split stuff down like this before, many times, just to get some kindling, especially if maybe you don't have good ground and things like that, and you just want to stand up. So as you can see, I mean, this knife is going to be viable if you choose to take it out here. I would say it might not be my first choice, but you know, maybe it's not a bad choice if this is your type of thing. You don't have to view a big knife like this as just something, you know, that splits wood, because that's not the case. And you will find that many of these indigenous cultures use a big knife for everything. So cultures that are living real close to the land have no problem using a big knife. There's no stigma about the big knife. Of course, if you walk around public places with something like this, this is a short sword to many people. To knife enthusiasts, it's, you know, a cool Bowie knife, but to some people, this guy's walking around with a short sword. And I guess, man, for all purposes, it sort of is. Very crude knife. Very crude knife. And it does some crude work. The old Von Tempsky Bowie. Great take on it, that's for sure. Excellent. Excellent using tool, really. If you're into that type of history and stuff, which I am. Once again, thank you very much for watching.